Good.
I feel fantastic. This is an amazing stress release, working out with Joe. You know, you go in from a day that hasn't been that good, hasn't been positive. You come here, you work out, you sweat, and you feel so much better about yourself and life. You got the endorphins going. You know, highly recommend doing this. It's great to make yourself physically feel better, but also mentally and emotionally. Can't go wrong with this.
The workout has to be both an art and a science to achieve and surpass your goal.
From head to toe, we worked out our abs, our shoulders, or our arms, our legs, our thighs. It was fantastic.
Well, a lot of communication, and yeah, that's, for me, that's key. Like, you establish very good contact with with me, so I'm guessing with all of your other students, and you explain to me very precisely what we're doing, and also what we're doing, what our long-term goals are.
One of the biggest, most important things that you offer is variety. That every time I come to a training session, I don't know precisely what we're going to do, and even when we do an exercise that I think is just like the exercise we might have done before, there's always a little twist to it. There's always something different, and I think by keeping me guessing and by keeping me interested in knowing, well, what's next? What's the next twist and turn of this exercise? It keeps it fun and interesting. It doesn't make it boring.
You want to reach your goals? You want to surpass your goals? You want to change and transform through interesting, diverse training, martial arts based, aerobic, anaerobic. Learn while you burn, fix and heal those chronic injuries. You've worked with a lot of different people and athletics coaches. What, as far as the way I train you, what are you saying? Is it any different, the approach, or that you get?
Never seen anything like it. It's, you know, if you looked at it from the outside, you would wonder what the hell was going on. But once you actually start doing it and feel the results, it truly is, it's a completely different experience.
It wasn't just, you know, working out hard. You do work out really hard, but it had that self-defense, fighting arts.
Just working different muscle groups. I mean, I've worked out pretty much my whole life, but I'm working muscle groups that I feel like I didn't even know I had.
Another thing too, even having had injuries, you know, being weak in certain areas, just the improvement in posture and how you carry yourself has definitely helped, especially with the weakened abdominal.
Besides the help with the physical conditioning, it really helps with the stress.
Okay.
Because we're in a very stressful environment here, and to just, at the end of the workday, to spend an hour kicking and punching and doing all the other neat stuff, it really does.
All part of the same thing, where I first had to kind of get good posture, build up some muscle, and then start to learn how.
And as we talk about, you seem to be getting more and more body awareness too.
Yeah, and I can just feel that my whole body is just
Educational process, and through training with you, I'm learning how to do exercises, learning new techniques, learning how to lift properly and safely, and so I have confidence now when I am on my own that I'm able to lift and do things on my own.
He's very patient with me. I have many challenges with the Parkinson's, and he always is aware of that, and he seems to know a lot about neurological problems, and he accounts for that when he works with me.
And we have fun.
Yeah, we have a good time.
Key, I think, to working with you is that it's different every time. It really depends on what's bothering me on any given day, and you know, you're really able to figure out, in light of what's bothering me, what can we do to get it to...
You a bad dude, man. I was saying when I take your class, you have me doing exercises that I don't understand, man. I would, in my mind, deep inside, say it was a fool's errand, man. But at the end of that exercise, when I go home and I'm showing my wife the foolishness that I just got down with, I find and come to realize that I now have range of motion that I never even knew existed. You have made me a bad dude, man, and for that, I will forever love you.
So when we look at our everyday lives, learning martial arts, self-defense, or just being healthy and fit have to be a process.
When I first hurt my back, the thing I was worried about was not getting back out on the racquetball court or doing whatever kind of
because you have children
sports I do. What I was worried about was like picking up my kids and carrying the groceries and stuff like that. And I think, you know, we kind of made baby steps in the early stages of, you know, just figuring out what I could do functionally and what I couldn't do and how to get at, you know, improvement. And that really helped.
You know, I'm actually working out muscle groups that I've never worked out in my life, and I've been working out for a long time. The stability and the stretching on areas that are problematic for me has enormously helped. In fact, when I first saw you, my back was really locked up, and both me and my wife have just noticed the huge difference just in a few months.
I tell people, like who I work out with at the office, or, you know, we went to law school for 3 years to learn about the law. And I always say, you know, it'd be great if you could go to school for 3 years to sort of learn about how your body works athletically. And for me, a lot of what we've done over the years has been helping me to learn how I work and what I can do to sort of maximize.
I would say that I'm not necessarily stronger in the areas like arms and back and shoulders, but I'm stronger in my hips, in my lower back, in areas that I would never have even thought.
Some of your weak points.
Exactly, which has strengthened me overall. So I feel better.
And it sounds like you're able to be a lot more consistent now, from what it sounds like too, without any problems.
Correct, much fewer problems. I mean, my back, you know, I'm getting older, so it's going to continue being a little stiff, but it's enormously.
Yeah, that's pretty good cardio, and it's also, I mean, it's good to develop reflexes.
Work in a specific muscle areas. There are things. I mean, I spent this weekend hiking and shooting bows and arrows, but I got a totally different set of muscles that are sore now.
You like to hit things.
Absolutely.
It's been different from the other classes in that Joe's the first trainer that I've gone to that's been a martial artist. Most of them have been, you know, college trained.
Personal trainers. Or
personal trainers
fitness.
And fitness trainers that they know what they're doing, nutritionists, that type of thing. I don't think anybody's ever had any martial arts background, and that's, you know, it's a different element to it. It's something different. You're doing a lot of the boxing and self-defense kind of stuff incorporated into a workout. So, you know, it's all good, and that's something that's different, something Joe does. I've used personal trainers for probably the last 5 years. When I first got into personal training, saw the benefits of it. I've taken both, just like individual personal training classes, and I've done a lot of these, you know, boot camp classes and group fitness classes. Joe's kind of doing that. I'd put Joe, as far as knowledge and what I've gotten out of the training, probably up there in like first or second top trainers of about 10 that I've used. He's got a really excellent knowledge of how the body works and how your muscles and anatomy, all that stuff really works, and how to train to get the maximum results, how to keep from getting hurt. Never gotten hurt in any of these classes. And, you know, you can get hurt.
What are you getting, you know, different?
I think two things, strength and flexibility. I'm just stronger than I was before in terms of the amount of push-ups I can do, or pull-ups, or dips. I'm just stronger. In terms of my ability to lift things in my normal life that I just had a struggle to lift before. But also flexibility. I found that in the past, I would reach for something on the floor, or I've dropped my wallet, and I was always kind of straining a muscle when I would reach for something, and that just doesn't happen anymore. I can extend my arms or my legs and just feel comfortable doing so, that I'm not going to hurt myself.
I've been a dancer.
Oh, okay.
For about 36 years.
Oh, wow, I didn't even know that.
But since I had my daughter, my core has been the weakest part of my body when it used to be the strongest.
Okay.
And so those core exercises, it's like bringing it back.
I didn't really understand why we were doing at first. It just makes so much more sense now. And so yeah, everything relates, and it actually it's just perfect. It's exactly what I wanted, like to get body strength, and also to learn how to learn some self-defense stuff. And at first I wanted to do it in two separate classes, but I'm really happy that I got to do the whole thing with you.
I've never really before have done any of the bags or the or any of that
so
work.
You like,
and I
like
do
the
like
striking.
That. I'm a teacher, right?
Oh yeah, well it's definitely not that easy because it's, I mean, the movements are, but in a way, but you just need to train doing them like over and over again and do the combos and stuff. And even though anyone can throw a punch, not everyone can throw 5 punches in a specific way, specific order, at a specific rhythm, and then do a bunch of other stuff.
Also like about your workouts too, I feel like if you were ever in the position where you weren't in a gym, just with a few basic things, you could do that anywhere. So if you're traveling, or you aren't able to get into a gym, just having the tension bands, or and I think that's a plus too, because I think a lot of people feel I must have a gym in order to get a good workout.
Yeah, and you just it becomes a part of your day.
Doing this with Joe for like several years now, and all my au pairs come in and they're like, oh, we don't want to do this, but by the end of the meeting, they understand that safety's number one, and that the safety for themselves, safety for the children, and that we live in an area and they travel through different circles where they're going to have, these are tools that they can use at any time in their life, and to help them get out of a situation or defer a situation that could get really bad, and these are very important.
What I think is cool about it too is the way I try to do the seminars is it's serving a purpose, and they see the value of it, but also they always do have fun, and that's what I think is cool about it. They don't expect to,
They don't expect to, but once they start moving around and feel comfortable moving around, they end up having a really good time, and they learn.
Self-defense specifically, as far as the way we practice and approach that. You were a police officer and so forth. You trained a lot with hand-to-hand. What did you get out of there? What did you see there that might have been different, or that was effective, or how did you view that?
I was a police officer. I have been for over 25 years, and there's a lot of very routine and highly structured self-defense training and arrest techniques that is pretty common throughout the country, and it's good stuff, but generally you'll go through like a 40-hour block of instruction. It's very specific for law enforcement, and that doesn't really apply to everyone. So Joe's more into martial arts, how to defend yourself out on the street. So you're getting something different, and you don't have that 40 hours in a big block of instruction. Most people don't have the funds to do that kind of training. So if you go in for 2 or 3 hours once a week, you've got to compress it. So you got it more compressed. You're not learning stuff that's as complex as you would at a police academy where you have more time. But you're learning kind of down.
I've been at Aikido for like 10 to 11 years.
We did some, the last day of the 4-class series, we did knife defense, how to defend against edge weapon attacks. And that's something you're not really going to get in police training, because basically your options is somebody pulls a knife, you go to lethal force on them. Okay, if you're out walking around out in the community, you're not going to necessarily be carrying a 12-gauge shotgun. So, somebody comes out with a knife, you're pretty much going to be on your own, and you don't have a lot of
the endorphins going. Highly recommend doing this. It's great to make yourself physically feel better, but also mentally and emotionally. Can't go wrong with this.
Yeah, Joe Chandler. No excuses. You got to be active to be attractive.